Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to switch up the order I'd planned on these stories because I'm doing a story this coming Sunday at church. So I'm going to help you guys. I'm going to have you guys help me. So join us today as we learn together the story of the wise men from Matthew chapter 2. Hey guys, welcome and appreciate you joining with us today. This is actually a story we're going to learn together that occurred probably a year to 2 years after the birth of Christ. And we'll be talking about this as we go a little further on. But we can learn from the scriptures that, first of all, when the wise men come, they come to a house. And later on, it's not going to be in this story, but after this story, we're going to see that Herod the Great, when he kills the babies in Jerusalem, he kills the babies 2 years and under. And if in the story, I want you to notice, he asked the wise men, the Magi, he asked them, when was it that you saw this star? When was it you knew that this child was born? And so he was kind of covering his bases here. And also in the actual language of the story, it's not baby, it's child. So there's a small difference there as far as meanings. So just like we normally do, I'm going to read the story out loud, and then I'm going to try to tell as much as I can remember, and then I'll go through and add conversational and then actions and expressions. So after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who's been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star at its rising and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and the scribes of the people and asked them where the Christ would be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they told him, "because this is what was written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, because out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them the exact time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you find him, report back to me so that I too can come and worship him." After hearing the king, they went on their way, and there it was, the star that they had seen at its rising. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route. So after Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east came to find this child, and they came to King Herod and King Herod and all of Jerusalem was deeply troubled, and they asked King Herod, "Where is the King of the Jews to be born?" And Herod gathered together the chief priest and the scribes, and he asked, "All right, where is the Christ to be born?" And they said, "In Bethlehem of Judah. For it said, out of you, Bethlehem of Judah, the child is going to be born." And so Herod told the wise men, and he said, "Go and carefully search for the child, and when you find him, send word to me so that I can come and worship him too." And so the wise men went on their way, and suddenly the star appeared in front of them, and they went to Bethlehem, and the star settled over the house, and they entered the house uh, where Mary and the child were, and they worshiped him, and they presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream, they went back to their own country by a different route. So let's see here. I intentionally have not done this story yet because I wanted to do it just like I'm going to do it to learn it, just so you guys know. So after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, so the location and the person, wise men from the east, they arrived in Jerusalem. And they said, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it came up, and we have come to worship him." When King Herod he heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all of Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, and asked them where the Christ would be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they told him, "because this is what was written by the prophet." Okay, this is what was written by the prophet. "And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, because out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." So out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them the exact time the star appeared. Okay, so that's how he found out when the baby was born. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully the child. When you find him, report back to me so that I too can go and worship him." After hearing the king, they went their way, and there it was, the star they had seen at its rising. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy, so the emotional reaction. And they entered the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, they fell to their knees and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, specifically. They returned to their own country by another route. Okay. And then what I would do is I would tell the story again to myself. Now, I would try to get a flow of this story as I'm learning it. The wise guys come. Herod calls together his leaders. They tell him what he needs to know. Herod calls the wise guys. So it's almost in my mind, I'm picturing it as scenes. So the wise men come into town. They talk to Herod. Herod calls together the chief priest and the scribes. They tell him what he needs to know. Herod secretly meets with the wise guys. They leave. The star reappears, leads them to Mary and the baby. They worship, give him gifts. They have a dream not to go back to Herod, so they leave. So, see, I'm picturing the story in scenes in my head, so that way the words will come more naturally to me. This story is in Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And I do appreciate your prayers this week. And again, later on throughout the week, I'm going to get you all to help me with this story. But on Sunday, this is the story we're going to be doing 2 days after Christmas. So, till our next time, keep on telling those Bible stories.